our sharing today is about when he takes too long to propose and she doesn't make her mind, and when she doesn't make up her mind quickly. But I would like to talk about what has happened in the last 2 days. On the first day, we were looking at the Christian principles for dating, and we clearly said that for you to be a good candidate for any dating, you must position yourself for a blessing of a date and a blessing of someone that can come into your life by carrying yourself in an acceptable and good way. You must work on your esteem, because some things God can do for you, but there are some things that you must work on. God shows you the way and you have to do your part, okay? You need to work on the package that you have, and then you need to ask God to give you love and to also make you lovable. And we said that for a Christian to date successfully, you must always honor God in what you do, and remember that there is no perfect person who has been created in heaven that will be given to you as a gift. But God has given you the whole of mankind as a gift, and it's up to you to make a decision and to position yourself to be seen and to see, so that you can have a good relationship. Yesterday we were looking at the red flags in a relationship, and we saw so many red flags, but one stood out, and that one is about abuse. And we agreed that it's one of the major things that don't easily change, and it can be a way of controlling you, and it can come even in your way of relating with the Lord as your savior, because narcissists, the abusers, normally control even how you worship. They control how you dress. They control how you make decisions. They control everything. They border on mental illness, and it's very difficult to change them. Somebody sent in a message to me privately and said, but can't you change, can't you pray him out of it? Yes, you may, but it's better that he prays for himself. But research has shown that 95% of narcissists don't change at all. And then I need to emphasize that abuse and abusers are not only men. There are women that can be very, very, very abusive. So it should not be a preserve of men, and the women should think that they are walking around scot-free. They cannot be abusers. Women can be even nastier abusers. So that was our day 2 summary and day 1. So when men do not propose or to commit, you can see I've given that that picture, and I deliberately covered the face of the man because he is not very clear, and the lady is there wanting to get married, but he is not very clear about whether he wants to get married. Why he is not ready to marry you, or is not ready to propose, we have reasons why. And most of the time, he is not where he wants to be financially and occupationally. As men and women, we think very differently. And men are made to be providers, protectors, givers. They have to be seen to be the ones in charge of the relationship. That's how God made it, and you cannot change it any way around. So women are wired to know who they are going with. So as soon as a woman identifies you and accepts you, she wants the next step. But the men want to know where they are going. So you see someone is, who am I going with? And the other one is, where are we going? So it may not have anything to do with you when you are in a relationship and the man is not proposing immediately. It could be just that he is not where he wants to be financially and being able to to hold you as someone's daughter. Most of the time, it's the men that are depended upon to propose a lifetime relationship. And when they feel they are not yet ready to care for you the way they have dreamed of taking care of you, it becomes very difficult for them to propose, and they don't have a house. They don't know how, if a child is coming, what they will do with the child. They need to be in control. Another is your levels of commitment may not be matching. Your levels of commitment may not be matching. This is a gender issue, especially when the partners are sexually active. Women give sex emotionally, whereas men are more inclined to physical pleasure and relief. So he is committed to having physical pleasure, okay? While you are emotionally entangled into somebody that is having pleasure. So if your levels of commitment are different, he may not propose. So you can say that if I can get what I want for free, I'm not likely to offer to pay or work for it in a commitment. So if you do laundry, yeah, you clean, you cook, you are my emotional backup and sexual partner when I come home, why should I think marriage? I am getting everything without a commitment. Why would I commit to get what I can otherwise get without a proper commitment? And I can jump out when I'm about to do what? When I don't feel comfortable. So to me, I think this is very, very important, that you should be at the same level of commitment, talking the same language. Maybe you are playing the wrong role in the relationship. This is related to the second reason. It depends on how you have chosen to behave and what you are giving at each level of relationship. Remember, we said there was dating and then there was courtship, which leads into marriage. But if on the first date you are behaving like a wife, or you are behaving like a real husband, you want to take her home and make her your queen after 2 dates, you will not get the commitment that he should be giving you. So if you short circuit and play wife at courtship, then you lessen the chances of being proposed to at the time you want. You know, the men like the chasing game. They like to pursue, to woo, to make, to be accepted by you, but they would find it too easy if you are ready to ease into wifeship after the first date. So you might be playing the wrong role, and you have jumped so many steps that should help you become, stay in a better relationship, that now it becomes hard for a person to start talking in intimacy, to start talking a wedding, when you have played all the roles you should have played before the right time. It's like dancing yourself lame before the right day for dancing has come. Another is that you did not have a framework for your relationship from its inception. You started relating, you drifted into love, but when you drifted into love and courtship, you did not talk about what are we doing right now, and where do we want to end, how long do we want to be the way we were. So if you did not have a framework for your relationship, it's like starting a business without thinking about where it is going and what you want it to do. So whenever you don't have a framework for your relationship, chances are that you will be playing in the in-between world, where you will not get what you really want. Let's talk about why women take time to decide. Most of the time, the boys are frustrated. They like a certain girl. They lay their cards on the table. And then what happens is that the girl is taking too long to say yes or no. And they leave the men in limbo, frustrated, angry, ashamed, feeling rejected. And that really hurts. So what do you do then? First of all, I want us to understand that it is how women are wired. they love to be pursued. It is female culture, gentlemen, you need to know that it is female culture, which has been pressed on them since they were children. They have learned it from the people they have seen. Their mothers keep telling them that. So they have developed a culture of wanting to be chased. They need to consult. Women consult. When they see somebody that they think they like, or they can already hear your vibes coming through, they go and say, what do you think about so and so? And until they get sure. So it has nothing to do with you. All you need as a gentleman is to be consistent and patient. This female culture is all over the world. You will not get it easy anywhere else. Another is that she lacks enough information to help her make a decision. So give her time. She will go and dig you up, do a background check. Who are you? Where do you come from? Because most men actually see the girls they like long before the girls know that they are being liked by someone. I will give my example. My husband saw me somewhere in church many, many months before I knew he was interested in me and in going out with a date with me. So most men will see their prey, but you have to strategize, you have to be patient, you have to know that she probably doesn't know you much. She needs a little more evidence to make a decision about you. Another reason why ladies are indecisive is that they may have a past. Maybe they have been rejected before, that they are not sure how to discard or to deal with, and they want to be in a safer space with you by warming up slowly. So she will not make her decision very fast, but she may send messages which you should be able to read, because she wants to be sure that she's not going back to that past. And sometimes she's indecisive because she hopes for someone better than the ones that she's seeing around. So she does not want to put her cards all together on your desk if there are other alternatives that are also seeing her. Remember that you as a man are pursuing, and you can see the prey. You are the lion, but there's also a cheetah, there's also a vulture, and there's a hyena, which is looking around. So you are not the only one in the playing field. So she sometimes has to look for the one who is better than the first one to come. So if you are the hyena and there is a good-looking cheetah around, you may have to wait in line. That is just figurative language that I am using. Another is that they do not want to hurt your feelings. This is a true thing. And are hoping you can give up and leave. Maybe they don't like you, because the onus of accepting a relationship solely relies on the girl most of the time. So if they don't like you, they know how to be polite, especially the church girls. They have been trained not to be rude or to hurt you so badly. So they don't want to hurt your feelings and are hoping that you can give up and you can leave. It is usually shown by their actions. They are not interested at you. They are not even willing to be close to you, and they actually show some disgust. If you are wise enough, you normally see that, but do not just say, she's going to grow into me and all that. Girls that are going to grow into you are more polite, are more kind, but they don't want to commit. Those that don't want you, show it to you outright. Okay? And then there are things you are doing. Gentlemen, I want to tell you this, that some girls would really want to fall for you, but there are things you are doing that put her off, even though she likes you. Can I give you an example? Maybe you are not well groomed, okay? You don't brush your teeth well, you don't dress well, and though she likes you as a person, she's not so proud of showing you around, and she's hoping against hope that you can see those things and do what? And get exclusive with her. Sometimes it's the company you are keeping, and though she likes you, she's afraid because You are seen where everybody else, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is found. If it is the bar, you are still there. If it is drinking, you are drinking like any other boy who is in the vicinity where you are. If it is foul language, you have it, despite the fact that you have Christian upbringing. So those things can put off the girls, and even though they don't like it, even though they like you, they are afraid to make a commitment with you. So how to deal with indecisiveness in a relationship is my next thing to talk. So when the proposal delays, you feel hungry, you get hurt, and you begin to second guess your fitness for a long-term marital relationship. This is normally with the girls. This is a valid fear, because there is nothing wrong with you wanting to get married. So how long do you want an indefinite relationship is the question that you should have at the back of your mind. And in the same way, even when there is indecisiveness on the part of the girl, how long do you want to wait in that indefinite relationship? Is the question you should have. If you have the patience to wait, then wait. If you have the patience, the impatience that you cannot wait so long, the fish are many in the sea. Just go back in the sea and look for another fish. Another thing you could do is to get into action and ask the commitment question, but do not show that you are desperate by escalating your behavior just to make him or her happier. You know, I see some men, when they feel rejected, they buy gifts, they send friends, the pastor, the auntie, the uncle, and they flood the person with a lot of pressure so that the person can agree. No, that is desperation, and it sends the person even further away from you. So, but it's always good to ask the commitment question. And this is how you do it. You get comfortable talking about what you have hoped to be with him or her. And many people will say, you know what, I had hoped that me and you would grow old together, okay? And this is about me and it's about you. Do you think that this can work between us? And if the answer is not very clear, you know that you are not part and parcel of that commitment and you can move on. But it's always important to ask the commitment question. Where do you see us in the next 3 years? And hear what the person has to say. Listen and make a wise judgment. Another thing you would do is to tell her or him your plans and the fact that you want to be clear about how you fit into each other's plans. You know, I want to go for my master's studies. I don't know what your plan is about us right now. And believe what they tell you or what they are implying by not telling you anything. So if you don't feature in their plans, please move on. Don't waste too much time. I would say that if you are in a courtship relationship for 5 years and you are not featuring in each other's plans, it's time to move on. Why? Because you are wasting each other's time. A decision you can make in 1 week or in 2 months cannot take 5 years to make. That is a bit out of the norm. Number 3, ask them what they need for them to be ready for the next step. Sometimes the indecision does not have really difficult answers or questions to it, but some people may need some push so that they can be ready for the next step. If he doesn't know, then you are not in his future plans. If he doesn't know what he needs, you don't appeal to him as a wife material. Now, I know that in the millennial circles, wife material is a negative term, but I'm using it in positive terms here. So please be patient with me. Wife material means that you are not fit enough to be his keepsake, his lover for the rest of your life. So if he does not know what else you can do so that he can be ready to take next step. Is it dowry he doesn't have? Okay. Is it your parents he fears? Is it the fact that he is not yet ready financially? So ask them what they need so that they can take the next step. If he gives you conditions, weigh what they are. Are you ready to be the new you he is demanding for? And then at the back of your mind, look for it. Could it be a subtle abuse and control? There are some that will tell you, you know, I can't introduce you to my parents unless you have had a sexual relationship with me, because I don't know what I am going out to be. If that is your value and somebody is demanding that you break your value, then you know that it is a red flag. There's a lot of other things that you are going to be asked for that you might not be in a position to give with a clear conscience. So when you ask, be ready to listen to what they need, and then weigh whether what they need is something you are in charge of. If you are not in control of that, then leave it. If it is a sign of abuse, then it is a time to make a decision. Will you compromise your values if they ask for you to do that in order to commit? Well, if you start, it's going to be an issue forever, because he knows that you will compromise some of the values even when you are with him in marriage. If it is the lady who is asking you to compromise your values, then you know that you are in trouble, because you have just started and there are many more things in the pipeline, and they might make you a little or quite unhappy with yourself. So remember to love yourself enough not to give in to things that will make you unhappy. You don't want to buy your unhappiness just because you want a commitment. If he's confused and doesn't know what he really needs in order to make us a next step, suggest to see a neutral person that can help you both to see the clearer picture of what you really need. Some people honestly don't know what they need so that they can make a next step. Maybe they are just commitment phobic. They don't know what to expect when there is a commitment. You get to ask a therapist or somebody so that they can talk to you clearly, and you give them you get the right information to make a good decision. Another thing is that you can set an ultimatum. If you see that it's a good relationship and you really want to go into it, set an ultimatum. But do not show how desperate you are to force yourself into somebody's life. Pick a date and say you will be moving on after that date. For example, you say, this is 2020. If by the end of 2021, I don't see anything going on in this relationship, maybe I will let it go. Because they say love is something, when you give it away, it comes right back to you. You know that song? I hope you do. Love is something, when you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something, when you give it away, it comes back right back to you. It comes right back to you. Maybe it would work for you. So refuse to, the bottom line is this: refuse to waste time and accept the gift of being left alone. Value yourself enough by not putting your life on an indefinite hold for someone that is not so sure where he wants to go or where she wants to go. Go back and recollect yourself, and you will find someone that is as great. But when you know you are great in somebody's life and you think that you can always make a great couple, set ultimatums, and sometimes this is being proactive, the relationship can move. In conclusion, I want to conclude with what I said yesterday, that despite everything, courtship and eventual marriage should not be treated as the pinnacle of everything. such that you think, if I have not courted and I have not married, the world has come to an end. As I said, marriage is for us being here on earth, though it is a very good thing. In heaven, there will be no marriage. So you must remember to keep your relationship with God and with God, which is the ultimate achievement. Remember that when you have your relationship with God, He is able to do everything exceedingly and abundantly well for you. Still commit any indecisiveness, any inability to propose and all that, commit it to God, because He knows it. And He is the big convictor. He can always do that. So, but do not just sit back and pray and forget that you have a role to play in helping the person commit to you by who you are, by what you choose to do together, and by sometimes waking up the person a little and saying, I want us to do what? To move forward. If we are not moving forward, I need to have my life back and do something better. So I want to thank you very much. I would like to stop the sharing here and let us have a healthy discussion now.
Hi, everybody. So we'll start with the questions that were given in the inbox. Thank you, Mrs. Matoya, for the presentation. We're still learning so much. The conversation in the comments is very interesting. So we'll start with the first question. And it says, how long is each stage of courting and dating?
I want to say that dating should be the longer part, the bigger part, because you are easily, it's like you are sorting rice. Yeah. And you want the best that you can come, and then you put it in a corner and say, you know, this is the one I want, and from this is where I'll pick the rice that I am going to cook. You see? So the dating scene is big. It starts off from right high school all the way to around 24. After 25 and 26 for the girls, after that time, you have no business being in the dating ground. Whoever that is coming around that time should come for a serious engagement. Why? Because you women have what we call the biological clock, and it's ticking very, very fast. Now, I am sorry that I have had to bang it on your face the way it is, but that is the real thing. There is a biological clock that you have to work with. True, some women have married in their 40s and still had a good relationship, but it's always good to do things when you are younger, you have enough strength, and you will live long enough to see your grandchildren. You don't want to start at 50 and you cannot even see your grandchild. So there is a biological clock for the girls. For the gentlemen, they may date to their mid-20s. They may date up to their mid-20s. But remember that for men, it's not the biological clock. It is the financial clock. They have to be providers. They have to be caregivers. They have to be supporters, protectors of the home. Yeah. So for them, they can stay longer in the dating scene. But for the women, you cannot afford that. So I would like to say, after you reach a courtship, when you are exclusive, you are being shown off to his parents, and you are beginning to talk marriage, it shouldn't take too long. When it does, you can start falling into those roles you are not supposed to play. You will soon start to think that you can be a wife as you wait to be made an official wife. And that is very risky. We know many people that have gone there and have been kicked out. So it shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 years courting. Yeah, that might be too long and may fall into a lot of temptations to live in the standards of Christian courting. However, you can take long. Again, you can take long if you agree, if you have other things that you need to do in your pipeline. Let's say you are in medical school and you want to finish, because the roles of a wife and a doctor can be very, very heavy. A doctor in training, they can be very heavy, and it will impede your fun as a couple. So you may say, let's have this behind us. And then when we are done, we will continue being husband and wife, and you have your own commitment. Still, that is a commitment that you have made. But being with no commitment, and you are 30 years old and you are not doing anything about what you are doing, there is a problem with that. So it shouldn't be too long, but from the time of courtship to the time of beginning marriage, it's also shouldn't be too short, and it shouldn't not be less than 6 months. The shortest should be 6 months. The longest can be as long as possible if you agree. But ideally, 2 years would be the best.
Before I'm going to make a comment that has something to do with the next question. So you just mentioned that for ladies, we should be aware of our biological clock. And for men, a lot of the times, and gentlemen, a lot of the times, it's the financial side, as they should be protectors and providers. I find that in today's society, even ladies are worried, and the financial clock is on us as much as the biological clock is. So in that sense, we have both the biological and the financial clock.
That's true. That's true.
It's in today's world, both partners have to provide, and it is both their role. So with that being said, there's a question from Tony, and he said, the issue of pursuing, if a lady pursues a man and we know that the latter has an obligation, role to provide, plan, protect, amongst her things, the lady pursuing is in other.
Oh, we are losing you. All right. We have lost them. Is there anyone that can
okay, no problem. So about the issue, this is just a question about the issue of pursuing. If a lady pursues a man and we know that the latter has an obligation, role to provide, plan and protect amongst her things, the lady pursuing is, in other words, asking for these things from a man. Making the first step or approaching is different from continually pursuing or chasing a guy to provide for you. So I think
Continue, Diana.
Oh yeah, so I'm not too sure. I think he's just saying, oh, it's the job of the man basically to pursue, and that if I think that, Tony, if you can explain it for us better, or if let me know if I'm not explaining it better, but or clearer. But I guess it's just in terms of, I think this is more gender roles and in masculinity, and I guess what is acceptable for a man or woman to do in terms of the initiation and their roles and their obligations, it looks like. If we can hear your views on what gender roles and who chases who pursues who.
Okay.
We have someone who's replied.
I know that this is a very controversial area to talk about. Most of the time, the women that have worked hard in life and can very well provide in a relationship feel that the man should not be told that he is a provider, that he is a caregiver, but that is a role assigned him from creation times. Whether we have grown and all that, there are things that don't really change. It is okay to come into a relationship, you are able to contribute for the best of it, but you cannot take over the man or the woman's role. There are gender roles. Because you are male, you are perceived to do certain roles, to play certain roles within a relationship. For example, the man will be the person to propose. I've not seen a proposal done by a woman in public, buy the rings and give it to the man and all that. It is usually the man that will do that. A woman might play a very subtle role to bring out that proposition to be done, but it's really never her, because that is his role. So many women are educated and they can contribute to the relationship, but they should not take over the gender role of the person. Gender roles are assigned by masculinity or femininity. And when there is somebody knocking at the door and there is a robber, usually the man will run out first to make sure that his family is safe, even when his wife is an army officer, you know? So a woman's need number one is security. Security physically, mentally, socially, and all that from the man that is in her life. So do not misunderstand the gender roles from the contributions that you make financially or physically within the household. Yeah.
So I just have a follow-up question to this. So what we were talking, what Tony was saying, we were talking about whether a girl can ask out a guy who she likes, or a guy can ask out a girl who she likes. A guy can ask out a girl who she likes. And in our generation, we have found that I have met personally, and some of my brothers and some of my friends have met guys who say, I wouldn't mind a girl approaching me, because sometimes there's a girl that you could potentially like, but you just feel like she won't like you back. But then them letting you know that they like you actually allows you to now look at her different and pursue that relationship and initiate that that process. But there was a comment that by a girl letting a guy know that she likes them before them, then that is taking away their power and their provision and everything. So I personally find it a bit problematic, especially in an age where women earn equally, contribute equally, for us to say that still that men need this power. So my question is, why do men need this power? Why does this power need to exist? Where if I'm a female and I'm attracted to somebody, I have to not say it just because it would take the power away from him. Isn't this a problematic message to be passing on to the girls, that actually your feelings aren't valid until a man comes in to validate them?
Well, thank you, Marcella, for that beautiful question. Unfortunately, I'm not a man, but I will ask the men in the house to say that, to answer that question. But I'm going to tell you this. If you like a man, I want you to be wise and subtle, and use people that that are around you to make it happen without necessarily threatening his ego, as we call it, threatening his ego. So you could ask a mutual friend to invite you both out. Yeah, you could make a group meeting, a group day out, and make sure to include him. And while you are there, give the attention that you need in a certain way. They will get the message. You will not walk up to a man. Very few men have the guts to accept the proposal of a lady that is equal to our lady's proposal. They feel that they are caught off guard, even when they know it. So you can use, there are other brilliant ways you can go around to catch the attention of this person. Even in the animal world, it is the turkeys that show out their brightness. It is let's look at the peacocks. It's the males that have to show for attraction. They are the ones that go out of their way to show that they are acceptable. They need to be accepted. So this is a creation thing. There isn't something much you can't do about it until we grow to that level where men readily accept to be approached by the women around them. So I'm going to ask the men in the house to respond to Marcella's question. What do you feel if a girl walks to you, especially in this new generation where we are not in? What do you think, gentlemen?
Tony, you had your hand up. Did you want to reply?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Tony,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Oh yeah, my internet keeps on breaking. That's why I was preferring to type instead of speaking through the audio. Anyway, to answer Marcella's question, what I meant by taking men's power away when a female or a lady pursues a man, we all agree, I think, from the discussion, even we've been hearing from Ms. Matoya telling us that girls like to be pursued, and men like to pursue. So a man is the one who knows when he's ready to enter a relationship, because as we all know, if I'm not financially capable to take care of you or plan for our future, then I'm not ready to be in that relationship. I'm not ready to waste your time. So men feel, it's for that reason the men feel a bit uncomfortable when they're being pursued, because you do not know my financial situation or if I'm ready to be in a relationship. But women, as long as, that's why I mean, in my view, since they don't really have to, I don't know how this is going to sound, but since they don't really, it's not their primary obligation to plan for the family, then they can always be pursued. But men, since we have to make sure about the welfare of our family, since we have to protect, since we have to provide, then I mean, at least for me, it makes a lot more sense when a man pursues a woman. I don't know whether that makes sense.
Thank you, Tony. Is there any other gentleman who would like to say something about that? I think the message is clear. Men are comfortable asking ladies out. They are a bit skeptical when they are being asked out. So position yourself, ladies, in a way that you can be noticed, and you are sending messages that the person can begin to think about, even if he wasn't sure you loved them or you like them.
There was, before we go to another question, Aisha, did you want to speak?
Yes, hi, Mrs. Matoya. So my question is in regards to perseverance and endurance. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be on Friday and Sabbath, so I don't know if you covered this. So you mentioned that there are certain things that men and women do, but they shouldn't be doing at a certain stage, meaning carrying out wifey duties or hubby duties when really you haven't said I do, or even put a ring on it. Now, in regards to that, I feel like nowadays a lot of women and men persevere the others' bad behaviors more than they should if you're married. I understand that before you get married, you're advised to learn how to persevere some bad habits that your spouse might come up with because you're not marrying a saint. But if you're dating, should you not put yourself in a situation where you have to persevere or endure a lot of terrible behaviors like cheating, or I'm not even talking about abuse, I'm talking about these other habits where you can kind of endure when you're married, but really should you endure them when you're dating?
Thank you, Aisha. Yesterday we talked about the red flags in relationships, and maybe in the recording that we have, you will listen to it. We had a lot of red flags. Cheating was one of them, bad behavior, being angry for no reason. We had the love bombs, and then we had the other what we say, red flags. There is nothing to endure. Endurance is almost a negative word, When there is too much that spoils your relationship with God, your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with others, then you are in this relationship to go to hell, I would say it. You are not having a good relationship with God, and you are not having a good relationship to yourself, and even everybody else can see that you are out of the norm. So the best thing is get off. The church is very clear that whenever there is infidelity, that is a ground for divorce. And when there is abuse that you can prove, that's a ground for divorce. So those things that you endure, which are bad, are not things to stay with in courtship. That is why there is courtship, so that you can make up your mind whether you are going to go into endurance mode, or it's nothing that you are going to it's nothing that you are going to endure, and therefore you can opt out at courtship.
Thank you. What we're going to do is, because there's quite a lot of the questions via the chat as well, we're going to do chat, hands up, chat, hands up. So that's what we'll do. So Gerald, I see you there, don't worry. We have a question. I'm starting from the top. What if the guy you're dating seems not to want to introduce you to his parents? That's the first.
Hello? If the guy you are dating doesn't want you to visit his parents,
or introduce them, yeah, introduce you to his parents.
To his parents, there could be several reasons. One is that maybe there's a lot of baggage out there that is protecting you from, and not yet really ready to take you to face that. So let's say it's like he has a dirty house that he doesn't want you to see, and he needs to clean it up before he can introduce you to them. Number two is that he's not yet very sure that you are the one. And therefore he needs a little time to make up his mind very clearly, to have enough information and enough reason to send you to his, to show you to his parents. And if it persists that he doesn't want his relatives to see you, you know that you are not in the agenda of his family. And chances are you need to start thinking afresh about this relationship.
Thank you, thank you.
I want to say that it's also normal for young people to be scared about introducing their friends to their parents. But yesterday and the other day we learned that you need the blessing of those that love and care for you, because when it ends up in tears, it is them that you will need to lean on so that you can heal.
Thank you, Gerald. You can...
Actually, it's Sam here. I just wanted to comment on the point where expectations for the girls to make proposals. The previous question, I just wanted to say that some of the men are shy naturally. And in this country, there is a program that I have seen where so many professionals, they are shy to reach out to women, and they have to go for special kind of counseling, I think somewhere in America. And when they come back, they are more in a position to propose. So I think it's not a bad idea, if the relationship is going well, for some of the girls to let the boys know that they are interested. This may not happen to all the men, but we have to reiterate the fact that some of the men are very shy and they are interested. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if a man is shy and has not yet reached that stage where he can face a girl, there is always somebody that he can trust to talk to the girl on his behalf and facilitate a healthy meeting. So do not die because you are shy. There is somebody that you can tell. It's up to you to identify that person, and that person can facilitate your meeting with the girl that you really like. Yeah.
Also, in addition, I think we need to learn about ourselves, whether we're extroverted or introverted, or how we communicate with others, and how we are when we face people that we really like. So girls, guys, if you we call it shooting your shot. There are ways that we can communicate how we like somebody, and I think you if you are a shy person as well, additional to what Miss Matoya is saying and what Uncle Sam was saying, you have to like also, I think, don't feel like, because there's a question here as well, Miss Matoya, about how someone was worried about showing how not to show desperation when you're trying to or want to settle down with a guy who you're committed to, but your biological clock is really ticking. And so it's on the same realm of when can these discussions be had? Like, when can I say I like you? When can I say I want to settle down? When can we have honest conversations about how we feel? And this day and age, if you see somebody that you like, you could strategically place yourself within his friendship groups, within his settings, or within her settings, where you guys can be able to have a talk, a conversation. You could also easily say things that show interest to that person as well, whether you're a guy or a girl. We do know, somebody said down here in the comments that she is already aware of 2 women that have proposed to somebody, and we could probably all gather in our minds of a friend or a friend of whoever's friend who instigated a date. You know, there's a really nice restaurant that opened up. Would you like to come with me? That could have been a woman saying that, or it could have been a man saying that. I think it's just putting that idea into the other person that you like, that you're interested in getting to know them more. Let me just go through another question quickly, and then David, you can speak. I see your hand. Hold on. While dating, so we have another question here. While dating, is it okay to multi-bet? So this is, and the definition is that as in if a man can, be, for example, go on a date to Judy, Emma, Ellen, and at the same time as you try to shaft from wheat, tackling on what works for you. So I guess you spoke about this previously. I know a lot of people are coming in who may not have been there on Friday and on Saturday, where Miss Matoya talked about dating. And so Miss Matoya, would you be able to say, you know, can a guy date several girls, or can a girl date several guys?
Okay. Can a guy date several girls? Can a lady date several men? First of all, she said, when is it okay to say that I like you, or to say that I love you and I want us to settle down? There is no better time than at the beginning of your relationship, so that this uncertainty doesn't linger on while you are relating. So as you start, you say, you know, even if the relationship might break or anything can come up, but my intention is that we have this relationship to the very end. I am in for it for permanence. So from the day go, you relate with a goal. Most of the uncertainty comes in because you have related and you are not seeing the direction it's going, and therefore you are now beginning to feel uncomfortable with what is taking place. So when you begin the date and when you begin the courtship and you're like, I would like us to pursue a more serious relationship. Sure, we've been going out for the last 3-4 months and having fun, but now I want us to think seriously about being exclusive. I want you to meet my parents. I want us to plan to start talking about marriage. When you start that way, then you know the direction you are taking. But when it is an haphazard thing that, you know, it just transits into another, and you are not so sure, it gives you problem of when to say it. You can say it at the beginning, you can say it in the middle, but it's best at the beginning of a relationship. Somebody is very bitter about positioning, the women positioning themselves. You know, this is something that we cannot, we do not have control over. Ultimately, it is either the man says no or yes for you to get married. Yeah. if you say yes and he is not so sure, you suffer a double tragedy. You feel rejected and you feel ashamed for having initiated it. So just position yourself, as we said. Good things sell themselves, and bad things, of course, will not. But good things sell themselves. And do not second guess who you are, because when you second guess, then you begin to value yourself lower than you should be. So be confident, know what you are up to, where you are going, and usually the men will follow you to that direction. You teach people how they treat you. When you send double messages, then the people don't know which message to follow, or they might follow the wrong lead. Somebody is also saying that a man who likes a girl but is afraid to tell her will distribute sodas and water on her wedding day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for bringing that, that message, that you need to gather enough courage, young men. If you don't say that you love her and you keep running around, someone else will pick her up. Because a good thing is a good thing, not only to you, but to many, many other people. So agree to ask somebody. If you really, really feel that you are up to the task, ask somebody to help you, to help go with you in this, in asking this lady out.
Thank you. David, would you like to answer your question? I see your hand up.
Yes, hi. Also like to say hi to Auntie Ruth. She's more than but yeah.
Yes, David, I can see you.
So I just wanted to actually make a comment on, again, this same question that keeps coming up about you know, women like pursuing, proposing, initiating, whatever you want to call it. And I interviewed a lady, a good friend of, and I interviewed on a podcast my wife and I started a few months back. It's called Down to Earth with the Buruchars, shameless plug. But I interviewed her about singleness, and you know, she was single till her 30s, and I asked her, I was like, so like, you know, being single for however long you were, didn't you feel the need to, you know, like pursue men more? Like, what do you see of that men were passive and stuff? And she gave me an example of a friend of hers who later on, they'd been married for like 15, 20 years. And basically they divorced. And the reason why the lady was saying that, you know, she was so heartbroken is that she talked to the husband later after divorcing, and she pretty much said that you know, she was waiting, she didn't want to divorce, but the reason she divorced is because the man didn't show any sign of like wanting the relationship to work. And I think what the whole Pessoa thing, I don't think it's so much more about power, but more about it's an indicator of the man's commitment and desire towards prioritizing you in their life. And usually men show that by pursuing. And I think, again, they're passive men, and I wish my wife was here because I'm more of a passive man. I describe myself as that. And, you know, sometimes she might initiate, like, you know, do you want to go out to eat? Do you want to do this and this? Like, I think sometimes we demonize what it means for women to pursue, like starting a conversation, asking, you know, someone to go out to eat and stuff. That's not bad. But then when you look at the tendency of that behavior, you look at the tendency of the actions, are there signs that the man is showing that he's committed to you, even though he might not initiate every request? Are there signs that he's committed to prioritizing you? And a lot of times that is shown by his pursuit of you. And that goes on throughout marriage, throughout your relationship. That pursuit is often an indicator of their commitment. So I wouldn't say it's so much power, but it's just a good sign to show like how much they prioritize you as a woman.
I can't put it better. Thank you very much, David. I think the ladies in the house now, you understand that it is a man's show of his readiness to be committed towards you. That is why he is the one that initiates most of the time. Not really that pursues. You can initiate it, but if he does not pursue the initiation, then you will be pursuing him for most of his life, and that will be very difficult. Over to you.
Yes, sorry, Melody.
Diana?
There's another question Melody's gonna ask. They're back now. Welcome back.
Thank you, Diana.
So
Is there any question? Yeah.
Actually, going off of what you just talked about, he asked, should I accept a lady to propel me into getting the means to marry her? I think it can help me in reducing the time spent in courtship.
Okay. The lady to propel him.
Yeah, and he
By
clarified that it was like to propel him into like financial success, basically. So helping him attain that success financially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean funding him?
Yes, so funding or helping him out where necessary, so monetary wise.
All right. That is again another thing. Is that a show of commitment to being your life partner, to being your security giver in everything, or are you accepting that you will shoulder the responsibilities of heading the home, financially, heading the home emotionally, so that the relationship can continue? That's a question I'm asking the person. Is that a temporary arrangement, or do you intend to remain like that and your wife takes over the bigger role as you lay back and she only helps you to do a few things here and there? If you choose that, it still could work. But what are you modeling to the children, for example, who God will give you? Remember, marriage is not the end of it all. There's a lot of other duties that the Lord is going to give you through marriage. So if your wife is going to take over the responsibilities, she's the financial manager, she's the worker, she's the provider, and you have children and you don't have the capability, you model to them some life, which they will also model to their children, and you continue that legacy. And they say, oh, that family, the men are lazy. But because one man did not model what God's intention for the man was supposed to be. Again, the women, I don't want you to feel that because you work, because you have got equal opportunities, you should play a smaller role in a relationship. No, you play an equal role in a relationship, but you should know what your role is and what the man's role is in a relationship, because your needs are not the same as the man's needs in a marital relationship.
Just a quick one. I know there's been so many. I've been trying to keep a track of the chats, and I've stopped where I have to ask my question, and I've seen there's 53 new messages below that. So people are really, really asking questions. But I just want to ask this one before I give it back to Melody and Mabel. What can we do once you are separated from the partner because of cheating, and sending his father and mother to convince you to go back to him? So what can that person do when they've been betrayed by their partner and now they're in-law?
Okay, thank you for asking such a question. Usually it is you that will play the role in the relationship. The in-laws can facilitate your eventual getting back together, but you cannot go on their request because they are not the ones wearing the shoes, it's you. And it tells you something. Did the man send them, or did they come on their own volition? Because they want you for their badly brought up son in their home. So they see a beautiful, good girl who can give a good image to their family, and therefore they want to beg you to come home to clean their image. That is one thing. Or have they been sent by that young man because he's genuinely sorry and he wants to be forgiven and to be given another chance to prove himself as worthy of your love? So there are two scenarios. You need to check which one is which. If you're going because the parents want you, their son is not very well mannered, and they want to clean the image of the family by having you back in the relationship, you will suffer. But if the man is genuinely sorry, he wants to be forgiven, he wants to be given another chance, but he is using his parents as the bridge towards you, then you accept and go back. So it's a reason. You have to be very wise in that kind of decision.
Perfect, thank you. We have a hand up. Would somebody like to speak? Dad?
Yes, I just wanted to say something. I think Melody asked the question in terms of finances. What happens if the guy is stuck and maybe you are in courtship now, you are not much more in a very serious relationship. Maybe the pressure on him is so much financially, but so for example, you are making arrangement of a wedding, or they are demanding too much dowry, and he doesn't seem to have enough. What do you do as the girl in this business? Do you help him financially so that he can meet some of these expected expenses? What do you do? If I understood Melody that way, yes. I think all along, as Mrs. Matoya has been mentioning, it is a question of understanding someone. If you have had this courtship and dating, you've been together, say 6 months or 1 year, you know the fellow very well. It's not online dating. You know the guy very well. You know what his heart, you know what he's capable of doing, you know what his income is, you probably know your own income. If you are a reasonable girl, there are a few things, especially when it comes to wedding, that you can be able to arrange and say, okay, let's say I got some extra money here. We can merge up and we can do things together. But you know very well that the dependency when it comes to marriage, the dependency, most of it is, if it's a reasonable marriage, you will always work together, even if he's the main man behind the curtain. You're not going to expose and say, this man, if he doesn't have money, I'm the one always paying up this, I'm always the one taking him out, I'm always the one doing this and that. You can protect him, you can work together. He's not lazy. Maybe he doesn't have a job. Maybe he doesn't have, but he wants to get married. And that's the whole problem. Some people get married when they really don't have enough money, because it keeps scaring off young people, men, to commit because they feel they are not having money. And because the young lady, the biological clock is kicking, she has some money, but the guy doesn't have money, but they can work together you're not buying yourself into marriage, but we are in it together. So what can we do? Don't worry, I have some little money here. We can work together here and there. But it's a question of understanding one another. It's a question, because when somebody said, I only had nearly $400, $500, $6,500, and I didn't know what to do. But if the girl has the money and you want to work together and you want to be in together, it's a joint thing. So long as you don't just cover him every time and shower money around, that's buying yourself into marriage. That's what I wanted to add on top. Understand the fellow and work together. Thank you. But Mrs. Matoya can add that.
Uncle, I really agree with that. And I think also, just to go off of that, I think we should consider that assigned gender roles can really put a lot of pressure on both the man and the woman. So this ideal of the man being a provider continuously puts pressure on the man to attain like this such a high level of success to, I guess, provide, and then also puts pressure on the woman for, as we've previously discussed, the biological clock and to be wifey, or notions that aren't necessarily what women or men these days want to live up to. So I think we should be really careful in what we require of the women we want and of the men we want, and know what we require of ourselves as well.
Thank you. It's very biblical that the women should be supportive of their husbands. That's very biblical. However, if as a man you are always being provided for, and I hope no Christian man falls into that level, you place yourself in a position to be disrespected. And respect is the highest need that you need to feel capable of being a household leader. So you still have the pressure that you must be able to try and do something that contributes to the family's well-being. You should never be idle as a man, because it will place you in a position to be disrespected. Women were not made to be the sole providers in families unless there are unique circumstances. They were not made to be the leaders in family households unless special circumstances like widowhood and so forth, where they really, really struggle. So what I would want to say is this: while men can be fully supported by their wives, and they can even be protected by their wives, it is about you. It's not so much about whether they're sharing or not. You need it for your own self-esteem, not just for your wife, but even with other men. So you need to get out there and do something. Don't sit back and feel like I am not able to do, my wife is able to support me. Yes, you would be okay at home, but you might not be okay among other men. And that has an effect that will have a ripple effect into your family affairs. I needed to clear that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Matoya. And another question that was asked as well was, what can you do if the man doesn't lead you spiritually?
It doesn't build you spiritually? Is that lead you spiritually?
Yeah.
I need to say this, that almost all of us are at different spiritual levels. And it is almost impossible to get people that are at the same spiritual levels. Our spiritual growths are very, very different. Some can be behind others. Do not wait on somebody to lead you spiritually when he probably is a teenager in spirit things and you are already an adult in spiritual things. Support yourself to remain strong so that by the time he gets to your level, he will take over the leadership. Remember that your relationship with God is personal. It is a personal relationship. And therefore, you are accountable to God as you, mainly, not as your husband will lead you. Days are gone that we have that. So you are responsible for your own spiritual growth. He should be the family priest, that's true, but many are not at that level. You as a lady, keep your spiritual level. That's why it is the women that pray in most of our lives. So keep your spirit level where it is and learn to grow even further, because your spiritual levels might never be the same, even though they match.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Matoya. Also, we have Aisha who's had her hand up. So, Aisha.
Yes, hi. So I wanted to comment on the question about finance, and I guess people have different views of it. So maybe it goes back to what you and your woman or man, what the situation is. But I know for sure that whatever you start doing, you better be ready to continue doing that forever, because circumstances might not change. But also, there are some things that as women financially we can contribute, and I believe, highly believe, there's some things that we shouldn't compromise or even help out in any way. Now, I'm a Muganda, so obviously we have the introduction where, you know, the man brings a dowry and gifts to the parents to appreciate bringing me up and giving back to this beautiful soul. I will not contribute to that because I believe that is a man's appreciation to my parents. Now, when it comes to church wedding, you know, I'll put in my money there. I'll pay for the cake, decoration, and all that. But regarding introduction, no. So I feel, in my understanding, I'm thinking I'm not going to marry myself. And the man that would, you know, would ask me in marriage would know that, and he would work hard if he needs to work hard, extra shifts or whatnot. So there's certain things that financially in this 21st century, yes, we do help out, but there's some things that you shouldn't, because a man might see you in a certain way. That's not 100%. That's a possibility that if you do help him with the dowry, he might see you in a certain way that you wouldn't want to be seen. So certain things, let him work hard.
Thank you, Aisha. You're bringing in the cultural aspect of relationship, and that can be discussed at different cultural levels, because that works with your Muganda culture, but it might not be very relevant in other communities like that. But one thing is, please play your role as a lady and let the man play his role as a lady. If he doesn't play the role, then you will know how to cover each other and how to support each other. But if he is not playing his role at all, and he has those red flags we talked about yesterday, then you have no business pursuing a permanent relationship where you are very uncomfortable, and it might lead you away from God, because you will spend a lot of God-given time trying to make a relationship work that already had enough red flags. Thank you, Aisha. The cultural angle is important, and we all come from different angles. So some things work in some cultures and do not work in other cultures. Yeah.
Sorry, Miriam has her hand up, but before she speaks, I just wanted to add that I think the importance of men being providers financially also has just made men to feel that their self-worth stems from financial gain and financial input into a relationship. So I've encountered a lot of men who, aside from their financial input and their providence per se, they don't really understand what else they can bring to their relationship. And I've encountered men where they're so hyper focused on earning a lot of money and being the provider that they don't meet all of your other wants and needs as a woman. So if you could just discuss that as well, that would be great. And then please, Miriam, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Was I supposed to talk, or was Auntie Ruth supposed to talk? Sorry.
Miriam, please talk.
Okay.
I will add.
So actually, my my point kind of goes along with that, because I have met a lot of men who feel like before I get married or before I propose, I need to reach this specific salary threshold, right? I need to make 6 figures, or before I propose, I need to buy a home. And the truth of the matter is that not all women are asking for that, right? Some of us are, hey, why don't we come together and build something together? You don't have to reach, you know, make this much money, because I feel like a lot of the times masculinity is based on finances, and it's you are more than your finances, right? Not only that, a great example of this is during COVID. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and probably in marriages, a lot of men have lost their jobs, right? So what do you do then? Are you not a man anymore because you've lost your job? So I feel like this is something that I'm always struggling with, where you're not always going to have that money. You're not always going to have that job, but that doesn't make you less of a man, right? Especially if you have a supportive wife who is there for you. Like, you are there as a couple to build together, to build your kingdom. And I just kind of struggle with that concept. And then I've heard a lot of blanket statements like, you know, if your woman earns more, then she won't respect you, you know, and that's not always the case. Maybe the examples you've seen is that, because I do remember there was a time when my dad lost his job and my mom was the main provider, and also my brother and I helped. But if you have a woman who's there for you and who is supportive, she won't put you down, but she will encourage you, and you will get that job eventually. So I struggle, and I urge the men to kind of shift their mindset, and to also consider that it's 2020 and times are changing, where you will get a chance where the woman will earn more than you, but you have to communicate as to how you want to be respected, how you want to be loved in that relationship to make it work. Not all women are going to look down on you just because you make more. That's all I had to say.
Okay, thank you, Miriam. You have articulated it very well. What else? I would want to say this: that masculinity is not just about providing. It's about your presence in your family, and what else do you bring apart from your money, from your ability to provide? You need to be a role model, you need to be a lover, you need to understand what a woman's needs are. Money is one of the lowest things that a woman needs in a marriage relationship. So even though money does a lot of things around the house, you have seen families where men bring in millions of shillings, but they are very, very unhappy. Why? Because they are not bringing the rest of the needs into the relationship. So let me educate you a little. Maybe there are these resources that you've read, and a woman will need protection, love and care. She needs a friend, so you must make time to talk, to go out with. She needs a communicator. That is very, very important. She needs a person that appreciates her effort, even because most women are wired to do things, and they are concerned about what the men in their lives think. When a lady is going out for a date, she takes time to make herself up. She takes time to look clean. She takes time to do very many things. When she serves food, she takes time to cook a good meal. And check around when your dad is around in the house. Your mother will make sure that the food is good. But when he's not around, she will do something. She will let you people eat as you want. Do you know why? Because it is a gender issue, that the man in her life is treated very, very well. So bring home love, bring home appreciation, bring home time, bring home communication. Your money might be the last things along that need. Bring home security. Let the woman feel that with you, she's safe and her future is safe. Her children are safe. That will make you be a man more than just your money. You might work and kill yourself making money that doesn't make a relationship. So bring home that. And what does the woman bring into the relationship? One of them is respect for the person, whether he earns a big check or a small check. Appreciation, because very few people appreciate men out there. So you need to appreciate. And then they need a peaceful place. The world of men is very chaotic. They need a home to come to, a clear home. They need somebody a playmate. So as a wife, position yourself in a way that you can be your husband's friend, that you can crack and play jokes that he doesn't get an opportunity to play out there, because the world is very, very, very serious for men most of the time. So it is not just your beauty that comes to the table as a lady, or your ability to cook or wash or clean the house. No, it is the wholesome you. He needs a happy wife who will smile as they talk, rather than a sad wife. No wonder the Bible says a nagging wife is a problem. So it is time that men need to know that, yes, financial security is major, but you can survive without that big financial security, but you have given people esteem. You have been given people appreciation. You have given people a security that, you know, they will not be thrown out by the brothers and sisters-in-law when you are there, because you are securing their future for them by loving them in the best way that they can. So I want people to bring out the best in the person that they are relating with, rather than strive to bring out the worst. So if you strive to bring out the best in others, it will not be the money. It will be how you communicate and relate with them. Thank you very much.
I believe Fred has his hand up. Fred?
Thank you, Madam Matoya. I have a question. Right in your discussion, you talked about women being people who love to be chaste. And there I agree with you. I mean, we have seen ladies, and being chaste is something probably they find funny in, but you know that is their culture. But when it comes to that, how about when someone is sort of, they are being chaste, then they are coming back the next morning. The next morning you come back, they are running faster than they did yesterday. And it becomes some sort of confusion. Would that be considered a red flag, as long as it is been on for some time? Like the chase is, this time they're a bit receptive. The next few months, they are running probably at a higher speed than you ever thought about, and you are lost. I don't know, I wish you could comment on that. How much should I chase if I'm chasing in any case? Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you are being chased and you are chasing and you are not being given the green light, it's time to go back and check yourself out. Could there be something that is making this person come and go in your life? I said, maybe there is something about you that she wants you to change. She's not able to verbalize it and tell you what it is, or sometimes she doesn't even have a finger on it, but it's good for you to go in and check yourself. There could be some habits, they could be the way you carry yourself, or the way you communicate, or just the fact that you may not be as consistent a person as you should be. So check yourself out. Number two, it could be because maybe she is being confused. There are many other people that are seeing her and she's not so sure. And it is time for you to say, you know, I need to speak to you one more time, and I need to understand, why are you sending me mixed signals? One time I think we are an item, another day I don't see it. Is there something I can do for us to have a more stable relationship? You put her in a position to explain what she wants in the relationship. And if you are able to give it, then you make the relationship work. Yeah. And maybe she has her own baggage that she wants to clean before she can come on. All that is solved through communication. You pray about it, but you must communicate.
Quickly going back, sorry, to a spirituality. Somebody said, does being on a different spiritual level the same as not being equally yoked?
Is it the same as being unequally yoked? Yes and no. When you are unequally yoked, it means that the person is totally out of the same league with you, you know. But you could be in the same football, let's call it, give an example of a football team. Some people sit on the bench and wait to be called in when there is an emergency, but they have made it to the team. Some people cannot play the quarterback. Some people are goalkeepers, and you might find you are the goalkeeper, meaning that you probably are quite good, but there is somebody in the back there who can only kick the ball but can never defend the ball. So you are in the same team. I would love you to be in the same team first. Okay, what your role is in the spiritual levels can be worked up together. You support each other. If you feel you are in a better spiritual position, you help to nurture the other person because you are already in the same boat. But if you are not in the same boat, they cannot begin to relate with you, so you are unequally yoked. Is that satisfactory? Somebody asked that question.
I hope so. Melody and Mabel, are there any other questions that you received?
No, if anyone else has something to say or has their hand up though, please feel free. And if anyone wants to send through some more private messages, go ahead.
I think Marcella has got her hand up.
Hello. So I just wanted to comment on, I really do agree with Auntie on a lot of advice that you've given us. We are living in a society that has ascribed these roles into men and female, both religiously and in just culturally as well. And we find ourselves that we always have to live up to those. But I think in our generation, we live in a world where actually households that only a single person is earning money, that would be such a struggle unless that person is like in the CEO level, six-figure level. That would be such a struggle to actually make it through this world and to actually navigate and be financially secure. But not only that, but we also live in a society that females are just as educated. And we find that when we are talking about this very, very fixed roles that have to be happening between males and females, they actually become a little bit problematic, because you find that men can't, when a woman is in a role that all of a sudden she's a CEO, but let's say she married a very educated man, but he's a doctor and his pay is only capped at a certain salary scale. But then let's say the woman is in finance and she keeps ascending, and one day maybe she's a bank manager and she's earning a lot of money. And because of these roles that have been put into our minds, you find that there's a lot of insecurity that brews into that relationship, because all of a sudden, this man that has been told that you earning more and you being in control of the finances is all that your identity is, he suddenly loses his identity simply because his wife became successful. And you find that this really loving relationship, this man now starts questioning his position in this marriage. And for me, that is one of the reasons why I really, really advocate for males and females to define themselves outside these prescribed roles, because we could go into a marriage at a certain point, but our marriage could drastically change. The same thing as if you marry someone who you're both earning the same salary, but then your man suddenly earns a lot more, he becomes a millionaire, and mistreatment starts coming from that because he gets too much power from that, or a female gets too much power from that. That's why I always feel like a marriage should be defined according to the two people, and people should be made to feel secure with their partners, irrespective of who brings in more money, as long as both of you are equally working hard. And I also just wanted to speak about about, I'm currently, for my master's, I'm currently looking into gender-based violence, emotional violence and physical violence. And there has been a massive, massive link that has been found between women who are abused, and that many of them happen to not be financially independent. So they are dependent, and it actually fosters an environment where there is unequal power to the extent of abuse, to the extent of coercive and controlling behavior. And some of these controlling behaviors, men actually do make sure that they have that financial foothold, so as to make sure that they can keep you where they want you to be. And even the physical violence, you find that because of this power dynamics that has been fostered in our culture and in a lot of our teachings, it actually does provide an environment where women are very, very vulnerable, and it has provided this environment for a very long time. And I know that a lot of us are always saying that, well, that doesn't happen to everyone, but actually in Africa, as the statistics stand, 1 in 3 women are being abused. And we are the champions of these gender roles, ascribed gender roles within the family. So I believe that it is it is on us to really, really ask ourselves what is fostering these things. And my last thing, I'm so sorry that this is long, last thing is to talk about men as well. We really have to think about men. We really have to think about the burden that this puts on them. So I'm also in mental health, and men are really pressured. Male depression and male suicide is rising. African males are really pressured, and Black males especially, they have this massive, massive pressure to perform in a certain way just to be considered men. And actually suicide rates within males and are so high, and they are actually completed. Being 24 to 35 is in itself a risk factor for suicide. I think we really need to ask ourselves, what is pressuring these males to this extent? Are we really fostering a positive mental health for males? If we actually say, if you're a man and you can't ask out a girl, what can you do? And there's an introvert male who just happens not to have that confidence. What are we saying to this boy? Are we saying that, listen, your existence doesn't matter because you weren't born with a certain type of personality? That is why I really believe that as Christians, we need to open ourselves more, and we need to really look into, to holistically look at our society and whether or not it fosters healthy emotional well-being, healthy physical well-being for both males and females.
That's my grandma. Yeah. Thank you, Marcella. Thank you, Marcella. I would want to say this. There is a general campaign to empower the African girl so much in the last 10 years that the African girl has got empowered. So your generation, the women are doing very, very well because they have been empowered, they have been nurtured, they have been mentored. There is no such big program for the men. And so most of the young men have not been mentored. There has not been a deliberate program to help them to become empowered, just like the young girls have been. So again, we need to rethink what we are doing. Go back and begin empowering and mentoring our teenagers so that by the time they are in their 20s, they are strong enough to face their challenges so that they don't go into suicide. Actually, they will have more confidence to face and ask the girls out. Now they are fearing because they don't feel, they don't have the skill of working with the empowered girl within the community. Before that, the girls were not so empowered, so they would easily navigate the asking them out. Now, the empowered girl is a big challenge to an unempowered young man. I give an example. If you lived in a hostel and this young girl came into your hostel and she came undressed and wanted to push you into something that is not right, what would happen? The young man wouldn't know what to do, but the young lady is already equipped with skills for how to say no to an intruder into her room. So that is very important that we start empowering the young men from an early age, just as we did for the young girls in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and up to now. Thank you very much. I want to say this, that I will be willing for this group to provide online quality counseling and what at a very minimal fee. So if you really need to reach out to somebody that you want to talk to, I will be available for the next 1 whole month for a very minimal fee of counseling services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Auntie. So I'll just make a quick comment as well after you and Marcella. I think this is a really interesting topic. And then I'll ask the next question. So I think on the monetary value and who should be providing for the home in marriage and so on, I think I agree very much with Marcella and yourself on the side of sometimes men do actually suffer from that really heavy kind of push to be the ones that are providing materially and in terms of monetary provision. I think it also gives leeway if I feel like it affects both men and women in the sense that it gives women leeway to also become lazy. It does not only give men the leeway to become lazy. Girls can, if, as much as men, become lazy and just be like, the man should be providing, so everything should be coming from him. So that increases as well, and because it's accepted by society, everybody will be on her side and they won't support the man. They'll be like, you're just lazy, you're not providing enough, and that's why she's asking for more. On the other hand, it's also detrimental on the side of the boys because like you just talked about, I think women have taken on the role of empowering ourselves, and somehow men are being left behind. So for me, I feel like there is a gap that's missing for all the men that are already solid in themselves, to nurture and actually create programs that they nurture other young men to assure them that their values does not only come from monetary funding, it does not only come from per se being the traditional man of the house who just brings in the bread, but also emotional stability and other areas that all of us need. Spiritual stability, all of these are as much needed as monetary funding.
Yeah.
And also this, I think we should, as Christians, be talking more about how does a partnership work. And for different people, it works 50-60, 50-50, 60-40, 10-90. It depends on each home and how they view themselves and how they have decided to work around their monetary and financial situation. But I think more often than not, because of cultural and patriarchal ideals that we all follow in this world, it tends to become a thing where it's a really heavy burden on the men. So I think as Christians, let's also start viewing men as human, because we are really pushing to view women as human, but also let's start to view men as human, and they can fall down, they need to get up, they can earn less and still be as much valuable in the relationship, same way as a woman can earn less. So I think it's a thing where we actually need to be asking, what is a human being? What do they need? What does the other partner provide? Are we providing for each other in a healthy way? I think health should really be considered, mental health and all the other financial, spiritual health and all the other health. So it's really important that we start, as much as we want to say we want an equal partnership, we actually put it in practice in the way we see men and in the way we see women and men's roles and women's roles. Right, moving on to the other question. Someone asked, what if you have let your partner know that there are some needs they aren't meeting? They say they'll change but never do. What can you do? Is it time to leave, or should you be a bit more? Should there be a bit more leniency?
Okay. I want to say this, that marriage is not a place where all your needs are going to be met. And even in relationships, some of the needs will not all be met by another human being who is struggling with their own issues. You need to love yourself enough to find ways of fulfilling your own needs. For example, you may look up to your partner to esteem you, but esteem will come from within you. That's why in our first session, we said your self-efficacy. How well or how badly do you judge yourself? If you're going to be in a relationship, you need to judge yourself in a very, very balanced way. So do not expect that your partner is going to meet all your needs in your relationship. You will support each other to meet your needs, and there are some needs you will meet yourself because they depend entirely on how you treat yourself. So also have expectations. Your expectations should not be way too much into the infinity. Your expectation should be of another human being, just like as much as you expect yourself. Expect of yourself. I know people that expect too much of themselves and they never get to reach the goal of what they have set for themselves. So as much as possible, do try to find comfort in God, to find self-efficacy in yourself before you can rely on anybody to fulfill your needs. That said, it's not every challenge that is not being fulfilled in your relationship that you must run away from. Some of those challenges are there to help you develop skills, learn even more about the other person, make better judgments, and even have a better relationship with your God. So look at that relationship in a way that it is a challenge to be mastered, not a challenge to be run away from. If you are in a habit of running away from things that are a little not fulfilled, you are in trouble because you will run around the whole world.
Thank you, Auntie. Another question we had was, now that we're all here, is there another forum or group where souls here can interact and put class lessons into practice?
Okay, that's up to you entirely. You can plan for it. I know you have the capability. Please do that. It would be good. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I think this has been so interesting, and it's interesting also to see all the perspectives of everyone here and across the world and from different cultures as well. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We put Auntie Ruth's email in the comment section and the link to the YouTube channel as well for those who weren't able to watch the previous ones.
Okay. There are 2 emails. Please, you can send any of those. I can set up an appointment and a time for you, which is convenient for both of us, and I'll be able to talk to you if you really want someone to talk to.
Auntie Ruth, we shared the Ruth at healingtalkcounseling.com. So if you'd like, you can share the other one.
The other one is it's right there. Mr. Sentenga has put it on.
Lovely. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So if there isn't anything more, I think we can go to the last bit of the meeting. Yeah.
Hello.
Just go with us.
Sorry, everyone. So for the last bit, we're going to have a special item from Moses, then the closing prayer. If no one else has anything else to add, any questions left, any remarks left, we'll ask Moses to give us a special item.
Yep. Thank you again for the opportunity. The song that I'm gonna sing is a song that probably most of us know. I have decided to follow Jesus. Feel free to sing along where you are. have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus, and no turning back, no turning back. Yes. And living for Jesus, a life that is true, and learning to trust Him in all that I do. Come what may, I got my made up mind that I'm going home. No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Kubu wa Yesu, we wamfiriye. Ibyaha byanjye nibyo yazize, nubwo inzira yankomerera zagumye nyinyuremo mukurikiye, ntabwo nzasubira inyuma. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Yes. To follow Jesus, I've decided to follow Jesus. I've decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Listen, I won't turn back. I won't turn back. I won't turn back. 'Cause He's been so good to me, and He's been by my side. I won't turn back. I won't turn back. And no turning back, no turning back, no turning back, no turning back. Yes.
Thank you so much, Moses. That was beautiful. So before we actually give over to Aunt Ruth, so there's someone else who was asking if you know of any genuine SDA dating sites. I know you got this question yesterday and you said you'd share a list. So some people are asking if you actually do have a list of these genuine online dating sites specifically for SDAs. And if you could share them.
I don't have them on my fingertips now, but I would like to ask you to Google. You will find them. That we have Madam Google or Mr. Google at our fingertips. Please Google and you'll find many. Usually the right ones are those which you don't have access to unless you go through a good registration process, and then they let you in, I think at a small fee. It is enclosed, it's exclusive. Yeah.
Thank you.
But look around, there are so many gentlemen and ladies. They may have their weaknesses as young people, but they have a lot of potential. It doesn't have to go that far. Yeah.
Melody, can you tell them more about the Tito group? Because there are loads of people.
Sharon is going to be the last person to speak. So she'll give a bit more, she'll give more details. If I'm not mistaken, she will be the one who speaks last. She has the details like she normally does at the end of the session.
Also, there was another question asked that said, I'm still having my question about how could you know that the parents just want you to clean their mistakes, I think. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but if the person who asked could clarify, that would be great.
You need to exclusively relate with the person you are relating with. When you begin to date both your friend and his parents, you are on the wrong path. You need to have exclusive access to him and understand how he works, what his plans are, not what his parents' plans are. Parents may intervene when there is some conflict as parents, but if he's totally irresponsible and every time there's a problem, it's the parents to solve, then there's something to hide. So you need to relate with the person that you will potentially live with. Do not take only the parent side of the contribution to the relationship. Yeah.
Thank you, Auntie. I think, that was a good answer.
Okay, yeah. So.
I think we'll just move on to the prayer, and then I think Sharon will be closing. So, Auntie, if you could pray for us.
Okay, let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we are so thankful that you have led us through this weekend. We know that we have learned from you, and we know that you have given us your word from above in different ways. Lord, this afternoon, I want to pray for the young people in the house. I pray that they might find favor with you when it comes with relationships, oh Lord. I want to pray, Lord, that you may fulfill the desires of their heart as they plan for their future relationships. There are many challenges. There is a generation that has different challenges from the generations before, but you have always come throughout the generations, and these ones will not be alone. So we pray for a double portion of your Holy Spirit upon them, dear Lord, that none of them will regret being young, and none of them will regret not having found someone that they walk with, Lord. Give them peace of mind, but more than anything, give them wisdom that as they navigate the youth, they will navigate in your footsteps, dear Lord. Thank you, because we know you hear our prayers every day. And as adults, we pray that you give us the wisdom to guide them to, for we pray through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.